Hi, this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is The Rip Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a spoiler podcast. We always come up with things from the future that we're going to make references to, so be warned.
Yeah, this week we're talking about Season 3, Episode 5, The Reckoning.
One of the best.
I feel like this is kind of like a sleeper hit episode. It's almost like not like Plan B levels, because I know I love this episode going into it, but it's not one that is like top 10 maybe.
Yeah, like I don't think it gets a rep as like a fan favorite in the way that like A Decade Dance and Miss Mystic, something like that does. But I think this one did really well when it aired. I should have written down the numbers, but I feel like I remember this one like ratings wise doing really well when it aired. Yeah. And it makes sense. It's such a spectacle of an episode.
It's such a good episode. I mean, it's another John Baring.
Yeah,
he will always be famous to me.
Yeah, our fave director.
Yeah. And also, I was looking on the wiki, the Vampire Diaries wiki, of course. And apparently this is Kat Graham's favorite episode.
So random.
It is really random. And I will say, little disclaimer, the link to like that it was cited to was broken. Like I couldn't find the video. So that could be totally slander. It could be,
She might have like said it once at a con or something.
Yeah, like casually.
That's
but
funny. I mean, she had to do the pool stuff. So I feel like it makes sense that it would be memorable as an actor.
Yeah.
It's definitely memorable.
Yeah, and I do think overall it's an amazing episode.
Yeah, and she probably got to film at a school, like an actual school gym. So
yeah, she actually gets to be in the episode, not just on FaceTime.
That's true. She's not just missing. So
the bar's low for Kat Graham to have a favorite, probably.
A little bit.
But yeah, anyway, this episode, mostly takes place at the high school, like you were saying.
Yeah.
We start with Matt. It's nighttime. The school is empty. Matt is like lifting weights, training for football, whatever. And he sort of hears a noise and he stops and he gets up to go investigate, and he goes into a classroom to see what's going on, and it's dark, and then we see him step in, and all of a sudden he sets off a bunch of mouse traps and he flicks on the light, and we see the rest of the teens setting up all of these rat traps for senior prank night.
Oh, how crazy. The first sign that summer vacation is coming to an end. We're finally at school. I was like so surprised how much as soon as I like saw the school that I was like, I love the school.
I do too.
Like I love this set. I love the vibes. Yep. It's so nostalgic for me, as if it were my own high school in a way. Like
no, honestly.
I love it.
No, I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, finally it feels right. It felt so wrong to not be like anything at the school.
Even though that too.
Yeah, even though they rarely even go to school during most episodes, but like you need a little bit of the school.
You do. But doing senior prank night before school's even started is so wild. I would love to hear from other people on this, because our senior prank, like in our neighborhood areas, were always like the last month or two of school. It was always an end of school year thing. So it's really funny they're doing this literally before the first day of school has even happened.
Yeah, they're going to terrorize this whole place first day of school.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. Yeah, I think the next episode is first day of school, but like...
So I guess it was supposed to be what you show up to at the first day. But
I guess.
I don't know. It's just it's a funny setup. But like you said, Tyler, Caroline, Elena, and Bonnie are there. Caroline's immediately annoyed at Matt for ruining all of the hard work, because it took him forever to set up all of those mouse traps. Yeah. And Tyler's like, oh, you forgot about senior prank night. And Matt, obviously, clearly did forget. He was just randomly working out by himself at the school in the middle of night, which is very odd. But they're like trying to talk him into it, get him like to want to do it. Yeah. And Elena says, if I'm doing this, you're doing this, which I was like, okay, Elena.
Yeah, I was like, okay, sure.
We're all getting forced to do this.
Yeah.
But Bonnie says that Caroline is making all of them do it, insinuating nobody wants to do this except Caroline. Makes so much sense. I love her for that.
I love her
That's
too.
So me.
Yeah.
And Caroline like gives a little speech about like how they're gonna be seniors, and these are the memories that will stay with them for the rest of their lives, and like, you know, they've got to do this now. And Elena starts poking fun about like, well, what's the point if we don't do things like this, which she's joking, but I do think is like accurate. It's like especially the crazy stuff they're going through, you have to like have some fun relief.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're all like poking each other about this, and Tyler's like, you're all lame, which made me laugh. And Tyler's just like, you're all lame. He grabs his bag. He's like, I've got 10 more classrooms to do.
Yeah, I've
got work ahead of me. So he takes his duffel and goes. He's got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Elena is also about to leave, and Bonnie stops her like, where are you going? And she says, to super glue a Lark's desk shut. I'm making memories.
I love her for this.
I love her. I'm so sad she didn't get to super glue
Lark's
desk shut.
I know.
We couldn't have had Klaus find her as she does that. But as we see, he will find her much sooner than that.
Yeah, as Elena goes to go glue his desk shut, she's like walking down the hallway. She sees Tyler talking to people, deputizing them to go like do some pranks.
Like, Dana needs bodies in the gym.
Go. Yeah, this is his best boyfriend era for real.
Really
He's rounding people up for Caroline.
Such a peak Tyler.
This is a good Tyler episode for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elena's like walking through the halls, and she goes into some classroom, and she's right there face to face with Klaus. Like he's already there. She tries to run, but he of course like cuts her off and is in front of her again.
Yeah, of course. And he says, there's my girl.
Yes.
I love every bit of Klaus' dialogue in this episode. I'm probably going to say every line because
I know
it's so well written, and Joseph delivers it so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says, there's my girl. You're supposed to be dead. What are we going to do about that? And then bam, like the Vampire Diaries logo. It's like the classic like, Klaus has found Elena and is about to probably try to kill her. So
yes, definitely.
That's kind of where we're set up for the episode. But of course, the other big thing from the last one was we saw Damon leave town with Katherine.
Yes. Yeah, we see now Damon and Katherine are in the car. They're on a road trip. He's driving, even though Katherine said she would drive.
Yeah.
And Katherine still won't tell him where they're going.
Yeah.
And he says, like, whatever, like, I'm on a break with Mystic Falls anyway, so it's kind of fine that they've just been driving around. And Katherine asks if he means he's been on a break with Elena. And he tells Katherine that, they have a difference of opinion about how Damon should behave. And Katherine is basically like, they banter a little bit. She says it's Elena's loss. And then she's getting like closer and closer to him, and she's super close to his face. And they start making out.
Yeah, wild.
Like truly for a full, like, I don't know, probably like 30 seconds or something. Like
while he's driving, mind
you. While
you.
he's driving. Yeah, keep that in mind. I was thinking, I did rewatch this scene like once or twice because I was like, he's barely looking at the road. He would have.
It's worse than the reading while driving last week.
Yeah, exactly. Damon, his supernatural abilities, he does not need to apparently look at the road at all.
Apparently not.
But yeah, they make out for a sec, and then Damon pushes her off and says, like, you don't really do it for me anymore.
Yeah. So funny. I was
These two.
We've said Tyler and Caroline and their horniness. Katherine is just as bad.
Katherine is, maybe it is a vampire thing, not just a teen thing.
I don't know. At least a teen vampire thing, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Just so funny. But I also want to point out during this conversation, I thought it was interesting when Katherine was talking about Damon not being like what Elena wants or whatever. She says something about him like not being a hero specifically, which I thought was interesting because that will obviously come back around to, I think, the ending. So
yes, definitely.
Just wanted to point out that she calls out that he won't pretend to be a hero. So we'll circle back to that at the end. But of course, before we do that, we have to check in on where the heck is Stefan during this whole situation.
Still dead.
Still dead. Stefan wakes up in the truck that Klaus had him in at the end of the last one, and Rebekah's just like standing nearby at the open like truck door, and she tells Stefan that Klaus has been breaking his neck all afternoon. Which is so funny. I'm just imagining the three of them waiting it out in that truck for all the kids to go to the school. And he's just, every time Stefan starts to move, just snap, snap. Just keep knocking him out. So anyway, so Stefan obviously doesn't know what's going on. As we saw in the last one, he woke up in Mystic Falls and like Klaus has just been breaking his neck since. He doesn't know what like Klaus knows or what he's doing or anything. So he's still trying to act like, I'm on your side. There's nothing wrong. But like, obviously he's already been caught. We know this. But he doesn't know that. So Rebekah reveals to him that they know the doppelganger is alive. She's like, drop the act.
Yeah,
we've got you.
Don't play.
And so Stefan asks where Klaus is. And Rebekah says, with any luck, ripping that cow's bloody head off, referring, of course, to Elena, which pisses Stefan off.
Wow. She was crazy for that. Rebekah is wild. They make her so petty in this.
So petty. So, like, hateful, which I was kind of thinking about this earlier of like, I don't know, it's so hard from her perspective of like, she just got woken up out of her box from like the 1920s, like yesterday. She's like, you know, I don't know.
She's still definitely in love with Stefan, obviously.
Exactly. And like is getting her heart broken in like a really terrible way because he's just moved on. It's been 90 years.
Yeah.
Which is fair, but obviously like such a drastic reality to be just thrown into.
Yeah.
So anyway, Stefan doesn't like these comments, of course. So he like rushes at her and they both like go flying out of the truck onto the ground with him on top of her. And he yells like, "Where is she?" about Elena, obviously. And Rebekah's like, "You really do love her, huh?"
Yeah.
Obviously she's jealous. She's offended, which she says as much. And she gets up and pushes Stefan like against the truck. She punches him and she grabs a crowbar and like wraps it around his neck before then like shoving it in his stomach. Like she's, I don't even know, doing maneuvers.
Yeah, she like kind of like lassos him with it and then she takes it and stabs him. Yeah,
it's a whole thing. And this is when Rebekah says, "Consider me jealous." And she puts it through his stomach. He's knocked out. But the one thing I do have to say about this scene is Rebekah's outfit this whole episode.
Oh, I don't even know if I really noticed it, actually.
It's so 2011. It's like a long cardigan that's like beige like white with a belt on top of it.
My God.
The droopy necklaces, skinny jeans, of course. It's so 2011. So it's just funny how quickly she picks up the fashion because it's like the most trendy 2011 outfit she could have possibly worn.
She went and pulled something like off a mannequin for
sure.
Oh,
for sure. Yeah. Like I definitely remember wearing clothes exactly like this.
The belt over the cardigan.
The belt over a cardigan was so. I'm
having the flashbacks.
Yeah, it's very like oof now. Like I could not wear that, but
no,
it was the time.
It was the time. But and anyway. Rebekah acclimated quickly, which I have a lot of comments on throughout the episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get back to that, but. Back at the high school, we see probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire series.
Me too. Yeah, the whole series. I do think about this one constantly. The whole series.
Yeah. Klaus is like kind of holding on to Elena's arm and he's like dragging her through the school hallways. He's obviously not happy. And he's telling Elena like her being alive has really put like a kink in his plans. And she's like, okay, then just kill me. Like, just be done with it. And he says, you know, I'm not going to kill you until I'm absolutely sure. And for now, like, even though he's not going to kill her, he has ways of making her suffer.
Yeah.
And as he's like kind of pulling her along the hallway, they're walking toward the gym. And Klaus at one point, he like moves his hand from her arm and like spins her into the gym, like kind of by grabbing her waist.
Yeah. So he like takes the impact of the door and he's like pulling her through the door rather than like throwing her against it. It's very intimate.
It's so good. You have to watch it. It's indescribable.
We'll post that clip.
Yeah.
We'll post that clip.
Yeah, I can't describe it, but I love it. The way he like spins her with his arm around her waist.
So intimate.
I know it's not good because he's like grabbing her, he's torturing her
like
basically. Yeah. But I love it.
Yeah, I do.
But anyway, Klaus pulls Elena into the gym. And there are a bunch of students in there setting up, like, I'm assuming they're like little water cups or like little cups filled with water.
Yeah, classic prank.
Yeah, classic little prank. And Klaus starts speaking with his American accent again. Yeah. He's so perfect in this episode. And he tells all the students that they've been busted officially, like it's time to go home. And they basically all leave, except he sees Dana and Chad. Yeah. And he's like, wait, I remember you two. They obviously don't remember him. And he's like, I wasn't in my right head at the time. I love him.
I just love that he spotted him and he's like, you guys. I've used you before. It could have been anybody just as easily. But he's like, these are my people.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I guess we can keep running with this. Poor Dana. She just had the luck of running into a lark that one morning. And
wrong place, wrong time, like always.
Not great.
Yeah, because he, of course, compels them. He, like, makes Dana lift up her foot. And he tells Chad that if Dana drops her foot, then he has to beat her to death, which is absolutely insane. This couldn't have been the night that Matt had put Vervain in the town water supply.
I know. Like, where is Liz? Come on. I thought we were doing something about this.
Amateur hour. Yeah, like, you'd think that somebody'd have some Vervain somewhere, but no one does, ever.
No.
So, anyway, that's going to happen. The mentioned like torture for Elena, who tells Klaus like you don't have to hurt anybody, but of course Klaus has a nice quip to that.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, come on, love. Of course I do.
Of course I do."
I love him.
Yeah, I love
every
that.
line he says is amazing. I just loved him so much.
Good. Yeah, I really like that line. It's so funny. Of like, of course I do.
Of course.
Obviously,
I have no other choice.
You're crazy for that. I have no other choice. It has to happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have to check back in on Katherine and Damon and their little road trip. Mm-hmm. Damon stops the car. He pulls it over and he gets out. And Katherine gets out too, following him, and asks like why they stopped. And Damon says like, he goes, to take a break from the sexual tension. And then he says, I'm tired of driving. But of course, it's just funny that he has to poke fun in that way.
Yeah.
So he holds out the keys to Katherine for her to take a turn driving. And she goes to take them. And then he tosses them into like a field that they're next to.
Chucks them.
Yeah, he's like, of course, this was just a ploy to get her to like actually tell him what is going on. Because they've been driving around. He says they've been just like driving in circles, basically. They don't even have a destination. Yeah. She just won't tell him where they're going. And so he says like she needs to spill her guts. And so she's like, fine. And she takes Elena's necklace out of her pocket and shows that to Damon. And she tells him that like Klaus wants that necklace. She doesn't know why, but she knows that he wants it. So to have it is leverage. So that's like part of her plan. But then she says, more importantly, what she found out from Bonnie when she got the necklace, that was something even better. And
the way I burst out laughing when I realized.
I know what it was. I did too, because you're like, remember before it happens, and I was already laughing because Katherine starts making Damon promise or like agree. She's like, you're willing to do anything it takes, anything. He's like, yeah, of course, yeah, like we all want to kill Klaus. She's like, good, because this is not gonna earn you points at home. Like this is not gonna look good. So he agrees, and she goes to the back of the car, opens up the trunk to reveal Jeremy Gilbert unconscious in the back of the car that they've apparently been driving around in for like the entire day.
Yeah, I have literally the whole day, because she comes like, earlier in the day.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. How far and how long have they driven? Did she snap Jeremy's neck to like kill him, and he's coming back with the Gilbert ring?
Maybe.
But also, is that the case? Because I feel like that would be like his at least third death too. He'd be starting to go crazy like Alaric.
That's true. I think she like gave him some sort of like drug or something, because he's out. But yeah, it's just crazy too that she had to put him in the trunk. He could have been in the back seat just as easily.
Yeah, he could
just as easily. Obviously, Damon would have seen him as soon as he got in, but
also they probably could have gotten Jeremy to go along willingly. I don't think the kidnap was necessary.
It definitely wasn't. Jeremy always wants to help with everything. Yeah. He obviously hates Katherine and Damon, so that would have been a hard sell.
But he doesn't hate Damon.
He doesn't.
They're
really
kind of
Damon.
Besties.
Yeah, they're kind of like brothers who like hate each other in a way. So yeah, anyway, they've kidnapped Jeremy is what we learned in this scene. So absolutely wild. But somehow not the most wild thing in this episode at all. You kind of forget that happens.
Yeah.
Which, going back to the school, of course, where many a wild thing is and will be happening.
Yes.
Caroline and Tyler are in the hallway, and she's pouring honey on a doorknob. I was like, that's not even a prank. That's just rude. That's just kind of vandalism.
Yeah, it's just making a mess. These poor janitors.
I know.
Mystic Falls High janitors.
Some of these pranks are definitely like classic senior pranks. Like the cups of water. Somebody in our high school definitely did that. TPing is like not really a prank, but that's a classic high school thing to do. Like they're doing a lot of the classics, even the mousetrap thing.
Yeah.
But they're doing all of them together at once.
This whole school is being terrorized.
And then the honey on the doorknob, not a prank. Just rude.
Just mean. Yeah, just a mess.
Just a mess. But anyway, so she's doing that. She's pouring the honey on the doorknob while Tyler's standing right behind her, and he starts like kissing her shoulder, like kissing up like her neck and stuff. And she says, do you think Matt's gonna be okay? He's like, I'm kissing you and you're like asking about your ex-boyfriend. So funny. I love Caroline.
I love her too. She's wild.
Again, the good Tyler boyfriend era too.
Yes.
And she says, she's like, no, but like really, like, is he gonna be okay?
Yeah.
And Tyler does answer. He's like, obviously, like, it doesn't seem like he has like a lot of people right now to like talk to, and he's probably struggling like more than he's letting on. It's like actually a very introspective like answer about Matt.
I know. Like, again, Tyler's peak era.
It's so his peak era.
Yeah.
It's a great answer of being like, he's definitely struggling. He definitely needs more people to talk to.
Yeah. And Tyler like goes on to say like, I love how big your heart is. Like, because this is like a sign of that, obviously, that she cares about Matt.
Yes, that killed me.
I know. I was like, actually, I love Tyler.
I love Tyler.
Just for now, but.
Just for now. But that was like the perfect line at the end of that. Is like, I think Matt's struggling more than he lets on. I think he doesn't have a lot of people to talk to. And I think you have like, I love how big your heart is.
Yeah.
Such a sweet
It's really
moment.
cute. Yeah.
But anyway, of course they don't really get to enjoy that for long.
Nope.
Because they do like kiss and they're like happy until they're interrupted, of course, by Rebekah. Of course. And they're immediately like, who are you?
Who? Yeah.
Who are you? What the heck are you doing here? And instead of answering that question, Rebekah says, well, you're Caroline, Elena's best friend, which makes you, Tyler, the werewolf, which immediately sets them on edge. Caroline, like, positions herself between Tyler and Rebekah, which is interesting. You get to see when the female gets to do that instead of, like, the guy. And, you know, obviously the tensions are high, and Rebekah says, I'm the new girl.
I hate her. I love and hate her.
I love and hate Rebekah. This whole high school arc for her is I hate it.
So bad,
it's but the worst. But it's good.
It's funny.
But anyway, then she vamps out and runs at them, which the way they both dramatically flinch, I was like, come on, guys, you must have known that was where this was going, or at least it was a possibility. Yeah. She literally flat out said Tyler's a werewolf, and you're surprised that she's a vampire running at you. But anyway, she runs at them, and I don't know if you see her, like, go after Caroline, but, like, it cuts away. It's the classic, you know, vamp attack and cut.
Yeah, the classic cut. Cut 2, we see in the Mystic Falls pool, like, the high school pool, new location, have never seen this before.
And pretty much don't again.
Never do. Yeah, I don't think we ever see it again. Matt and Bonnie are TPing the place. They're, you know, throwing the toilet paper over, like, the rafters or whatever in the pool room. And Matt is asking Bonnie where Jeremy is tonight. And Bonnie tells Matt that Jeremy has finally confessed to, like, seeing Vicki. Yeah. And Matt is like, thank God you know.
Yeah.
Good little Matt moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, they start talking about Vicki, and Matt kind of says, like, you know, I also want to see Vicki myself because I never really got the chance to say goodbye. Mm-hmm. And then he does, like, a big exhale, kind of like I'm, like, somehow doing, because I'm, like, I don't know, I'm in the Matt mindset. But he does a little big exhale, and he says, you know, like, do you remember last year when we were both lifeguards? And basically getting at how, like, so much more simple life was and how everything has changed since then. Yeah. And they talk about, you know, Maddie being a witch, Elena dating a vampire, all of that.
Yeah.
And Bonnie, you know, talks to him and is sort of acknowledges, like, she cannot imagine what it must be like for Matt.
Yeah.
And Matt is like, you know, it's kind of fun. Like, that's kind of why I'm not really into senior prank night, because, like, basically just insinuating there's too much going on. Like, he's just, is like kind of like Tyler said, he's struggling. He doesn't really know, like, how to deal with this.
Yeah.
But he's trying. So he says he's going to go get more toilet paper from the, like, to throw in the gym or wherever.
Yeah.
And I must say, because we're in, like, the pool, we're in that room.
I know where you're going with this.
The Maddie Blue Eyes is bluing. His eyes are so blue. Yeah. I had to watch this scene probably like 6 times to look past, or to, like, be able to actually hear what was being said, because I'm looking at his blue eyes.
I know.
It's, like I said, it's obviously, like, they're in the pool. It's just, like, a very blue tone
the whole
scene
is very, very blue, because they only have the pool lights on, and then the, like, overhead lights aren't on. So all of the light is going through the pool, which makes the whole room very blue. So anything that is blue is automatically accentuated, and infinitely blue eyes. He's looking like Bing Crosby Technicolor, piercing blue, White Walker, Game of Thrones.
Yes,
like, blue.
I was literally thinking, like, White Walker.
It's so blue.
It's
but
so
I love
blue.
all the visuals going on in this scene and in this episode, like, as a whole. I think there's a lot of good ones, and the pool is particularly memorable.
It is, yeah. Like I said, this is a John Baring, so
you know,
he's good for a new location. We talked about that in one of his season 2 episodes, and it's also good for some fun shots. I like
definitely. He
every
definitely
scene
pushes
in the pool.
Like the visuals of the show and, like, what it can be in an episode.
Yeah,
between definitely. Like the cinematography, the actual, like, you know, the camera work, and just everything about it. He's a great director.
Yeah, love him. He'll always be famous to me.
He'll always be famous to us.
Yeah, but anyway, we see Matt goes to go get the toilet paper, and he goes to the bathroom, and he's in one of the stalls. He goes into each one. He grabs the toilet paper from all of them, and he starts to leave the bathroom. He's got all of his TP he needs, and suddenly one of the doors like opens by itself behind him, and he pauses and goes back and goes into the stall, and then he sees some graffiti on the bathroom stall door that says R.I.P. Vicki. Sad. Yeah. I don't know. Sad.
It's sad, but it's eerie.
It is eerie.
When it happens in the moment, I don't know if you've ever been at a school at night alone or only with select friends. I was thinking particularly in the very first shots of like Matt wandering the halls when he heard the noise. Why is he here? Yeah, being in a school at night as a high schooler by yourself or like limited people is so weird. It's creepy. It's the scariest thing. And I can only picture being in this bathroom, how it's so weird. And then seeing the R.I.P. Vicki, while it's also emotional and sad, is like, like freaky. What's going on? Especially he already confirmed knows she's a ghost that's hovering around. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he does see that, and we see Matt closes the door, and Vicki is like standing right there watching him, and Vicki says, "I'm here, Matt. I can help you." But obviously he doesn't hear her, and he like leaves the bathroom. But ooh, stuff's happening.
She can obviously interact with the physical world at this point.
Yeah, she's opening and closing like bathroom doors and doing all sorts of stuff. So whatever it is about her connection, like here or to Matt, is getting a lot stronger. So we cut to the gym from there. We'll go back to the gym where we see Dana is struggling to keep her foot up. Oh my god, poor girl is like,
poor girl.
She knows she's gonna be beat to death. She drops that foot. And Klaus is just enjoying the show. He's just hanging out. Yep. And Elena asks where Stefan is. And Klaus says he's in a timeout. Just so funny. Like, he's like, I'm the one in control here. I gotta put him on break. Put him on hold. He has to learn his lesson. When suddenly the door opens and Bonnie and Matt come in, as we talked about, to TP the gym, they're completely unaware of what's going on.
They have no clue.
They don't have a clue. And Elena like screams like, Bonnie, get out of here.
Leave.
Forget about Matt, but Bonnie. But obviously, because Klaus is waiting for Bonnie. Yeah. And he does rush straight to Bonnie. And he's like, finally, now we can get started. Like, you're the one we were waiting for. Yep. And he tells Dana and Chad they can relax and sit down. So thank God she's able to sit down. They both look very relieved.
Yes.
So she's on pause. And Klaus asks Bonnie if she's the reason that Elena is still alive. Bonnie, of course, is like, I'm the only one to blame. It's all my fault.
Classic. He's like,
Bonnie. No need for blame. Like, it's not about blame. Klaus just being so funny, acting like he's so much more chill than he is.
He does this a few times throughout the episode, and I find it so funny.
His whole demeanor about being very I don't know, trying to play nice, trying to be friendly while also maintaining a very threatening level is it's such an interesting game. He's very good at it.
He definitely walks this line very, very well. He knows he's got to obviously, make the show of Dana and Chad.
Yeah.
But there's a scene later when he's talking to Elena and he's just trying to almost good cop, bad cop with Rebekah, where he's trying to do a little bit of good cop.
He does it all the time. I think it's because at the end of the day, Klaus really wants people to like him and to be friends with people.
He does. He definitely does.
But also he doesn't give a fuck if they hate him if it means he gets what he wants.
True.
So I don't know. It's a weird role to play.
Yeah.
But so he tells Bonnie it's not about blame. Don't worry. It's not your fault. But your witchy interference did ruin my whole thing, and now I can't make hybrids. And so he, of course, says since she caused the problem, she has to fix it.
Of course.
And at this point, Rebekah enters the gym, and she's dragging Tyler along, who's protesting. Being no. And Klaus then tells everyone, this is my sister Rebekah. Warning, she can be really mean, so watch out. He's constantly just being Rebekah's a bitch, but we all love her. That's exactly the vibes Klaus is always. That's how he always treats her.
No, literally every time. I was dying. Yeah, he literally says, word of warning, she can be mean. Literally,
he literally says,
we love her, but she's
she's the worst.
we love to hate. We hate to love. Yeah. This is Rebekah.
And Rebekah's stop being an ass. Quit it.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary.
And so she, chucks Tyler at him. She throws him at Klaus. I'm helping you out, and you're just being mean to me. But anyway, so then now Klaus is holding on to Tyler, And Elena's like, leave him alone.
Of
course. Elena has no power here, but she's always going to try to, like, stand up as much as she can. But, of course, Klaus says, like, let's make it, like, simple. We are going to make a hybrid tonight, people. We are doing it. But every time I have tried so far, they have died. Then he bites, like, his wrist, gives blood to Tyler, and immediately he, like, tells Bonnie, like, I need you to find a way to save my hybrids, and for Tyler's sake, you better hurry. Snaps his neck. Tyler dead on
fully
the ground.
Dead.
Elena, Bonnie, and Matt are obviously shocked.
Yeah,
they just watched their friend get killed right in front of them.
Yeah, which quick interlude, we see Stefan finally comes back to life out in the parking lot or wherever they are. But then we go back to the gym pretty immediately, and we see, like, Matt is very much in shock. Like,
oh yeah,
Dana and Chad are off over on the floor. Like, Matt is by Tyler's body, like, so clearly in shock, and he's like he's dead. Yeah, which made me think. I was like, is this the first time Matt has seen someone actually be killed? I feel like it might be.
It has to be the time you've seen them die like that. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, imagine. How shock. You're just trying to work out the night before school. You're trying to look good for tomorrow.
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
But this is where this episode is really, like, it has been escalated. The levels are killing me. The visuals are killing me. The gym specifically, I like the pool, but the gym specifically is the iconic
it's very
part of this
iconic.
episode to me. The lighting, the framing, the stakes are so high. Yeah. Like, Tyler just got killed.
Yeah.
And the stakes are about to get a lot higher, like, in these next coming scenes. This is just such, like, I love the gym. I love everything that's going on in this whole sequence. So continuing with the gym, of course. Dana and Chad are also sitting on the floor. They're just like, time out. Tyler's dead. Matt's, like, in shock. And Elena clarifies that Klaus's blood that was given to Tyler will turn him into a vampire. Will turn him into a hybrid vampire werewolf. And Klaus is sort of, like, taunting them on the side. Like, well, if Bonnie is successful, then he'll survive the transition. And he tells Bonnie to go get her grimoires, get her enchantments. Yeah. And he'll hold on to Elena while she does that. So, obviously, like, you know, leverage. The theme of the episode is leverage. Yeah. And, you know, saying, Bonnie, you got to do this because Elena's also kind of at stake here.
Yeah.
She's definitely at stake here. So he grabs Elena, who, like, nods to Bonnie, like, yeah, like, go do it, like, save Tyler. And so she leaves and takes Matt with her. Elena's now left alone with Klaus and Rebekah, who, again, the taunting vibes.
Yeah.
She's saying, like, well, the original doppelganger was much prettier than this one. Girl, they look all the exact same.
I know.
It's just the, like, fashion era that makes it different. Other than that, same person.
Yeah. Even then, I mean, it's so, like, obviously they're exactly the same. Yeah. So I was like, it's just, like, a funny little thing for her to say.
She's just petty.
Yes.
That's Rebekah's whole
Klaus
thing.
says. Yeah, he calls her a petty little thing, which
I like. He does. And he's, like, sick of Rebekah at this point, so he tells her to take the wolf boy somewhere else. He's like, get out of here with it. Like, Tyler didn't need to be moved at all.
No,
but he's like,
he really doesn't.
He's like, Rebekah, we need you to do this. Someone has to do this so you can get out of here.
Yeah, just moving Tyler, dragging him around. And
it's so funny.
Drags him.
It's so funny. She drags him by the arm, like, one arm, she's holding him, dragging him across the gym floor, and her other arm, she's just, like, swaying as she's walking, like... Like, looks like she's just taking a cart, you know, like a cart full of groceries or something. No, she's dragging a dead body behind her. But it's so funny. It makes me laugh every time.
I know. I love these. Oh, my God. Rebekah Klaus.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Less good. These two clowns.
Oh, yeah.
Matt and Bonnie are out in the hallway. Matt is like, what are you going to do? Like, he's obviously, like,
we got to save Tyler.
In this. Yeah. And Bonnie says she doesn't know because any grimoire she has does not go back that far. And Matt is like, can you ask all of the dead witches that you relied on literally all of last season?
Yeah.
And Bonnie's like, no, I can't. Like, the witches cut me off after saving Jeremy. Oh, but you know who can see the dead?
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
So they realize, like, they need Jeremy.
Yeah. He's, like, the key to, like, they can't speak to the dead, but Jeremy can. So they definitely need him.
Yeah, that's how they'll get their answers.
But, of course, we know Jeremy is not so easily accessible.
No, not at all.
Yeah, going back to Damon and Katherine and their little road trip, Damon is laying Jeremy's still knocked out body on, like, a picnic table that they're at. And he tells Katherine, like, I'm listening. Like, tell me what you're up to. And she says that there might be a way to kill Klaus. Not dagger dead. Actually dead.
Yeah.
And Damon says, well, if you're saying that, I'm saying you're desperate, lying, and probably drunk, which is funny. But Katherine asks if Damon remembers Pearl, her friend, and he obviously says yes. And she says that Pearl told her about a vampire who knew how to kill Klaus. Pearl didn't tell Katherine that because it was leverage. Again, the theme of the episode.
Yeah.
She knew that info was valuable, and so she wouldn't share it. And Damon is like, well, great. Pearl's dead, so, like, what's that going to do for us? And Katherine says that she only ever told one person, Anna. And Damon's like, cool, also dead.
Yeah.
Like, what's that going to do for us? And Katherine says, yeah, but that brings us right around to one person, Jeremy, who wakes up.
Yeah, and fills in the blank. He's like, to me. It brings it back to me.
To me. You have to do the to me the way he does it, though, because producer Shana were like, sorry, he goes, to me. To me.
Yeah.
It's in, like, the raspiest voice. Like, Steven forgot they were...
his next step.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Steven forgot they were filming and, like, fell asleep, actually. And then he had to go, to me.
Yeah.
It's such a deep, raspy, like, dramatic.
Yeah, like a genuine woke up from
it's
whatever.
Very genuine.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. But yeah, anyway,
really
to me, being Jeremy, that's, of course, we know. And Bonnie literally told Katherine that Jeremy is seeing and talking to Anna now. So the fact that she has, like, this, like, valuable info that they need, perfect.
Yeah. Brilliant. The writers were in their bag.
Writers were writing.
Rent was due. Oh my God. These first few episodes and this, I think, is so brilliant.
It's such a culmination of, like, which is amazing to do on an episode 5. Yeah. Like, they've already set this much up and have perfectly, like, you know, combined it into this episode. We've already talked about the directing, like, love it visually, but, like, the writing is really what makes this episode so stellar. So we'll come back around to Damon and Katherine and how that goes. Yeah. Because we've, of course, got to go back to the school gym where it's really going down.
Yeah. Elena is comforting Dana. Obviously, this is very traumatic for everyone. She's kind of crouched by them, talking to them. And Stefan arrives on the scene basically to just, like, do it all over again. He's going to ask for Klaus's forgiveness. He offers to pledge his loyalty to Klaus. On and on. Yeah. He's being fake as hell, which Klaus points out. Klaus is like, your word literally means nothing to me. What are you talking about? And Stefan tries to say, like, you know, Elena means nothing to me anymore. Whatever you ask of me, I'll do it. And Klaus is like, okay, fair, but let's drink on it then. And by drink, he means drink on Dana and Chad, because he immediately is like, kill them. Go kill Dana and Chad. And Elena tries to tell Stefan, I'm laughing already. I shouldn't laugh. Elena tries to tell Stefan not to do it, like, don't hurt Dana and Chad. But Klaus bitch slaps her into 2020. Yeah.
A hit we haven't seen since Rose in 2008 when she smacked Elena. Literally, it's so crazy. Yeah, because Elena's
slaps
like
the shit out of her.
Yeah, because she was being like, don't, Stefan, don't, like, he's not gonna hurt me. Like, you don't have to do this. Which I don't understand what Elena's thinking here. I don't understand what Stefan's thinking. No. Playing the Elena means nothing to me card. He's so dumb.
It's so obviously a lie.
It's so obviously a lie. How could anything have changed in, like, 24 hours? Yeah. Especially Stefan's been dead for 23 of them. Like, literally, he's not dumb. The tactician that he thinks he is. And Klaus is obviously so much smarter than either of them. Yeah. Because he did not also just slap Elena because he was being annoying. It was a play.
Obviously a test.
Yeah. And Stefan fails, of course. Because he immediately charges on Klaus and, like, fangs out, Klaus grabs Stefan by the throat and is like, she means nothing to you? Like, bro.
He says, the lies just keep piling up, which I love. I was like, Klaus, get him.
He's so over it. He's like, you guys, nobody can be truthful except for me. I'm the only honest one here, which is kind of true, a little bit.
A little true. I feel like Klaus is very upfront about his intentions.
We just don't like the things he has to say, but he's not going to lie about them at least.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Stefan keeps pleading with Klaus. He's like, please let her go. He's now switching tactics. Let her go. He should have come in the gym with the let her go. I'll do anything if you let her go.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
obviously the play anyway. So he says, like, let her go. I'll do anything. And Klaus says all he wanted in the first place was Stefan's allegiance. That's all he wanted. So now he's going to take it. He will take it from him. And of course, we see Klaus compelling Stefan, and he says, you will do exactly as I say when I say it. You will not run. You will not hide. You will simply just obey. And this has just changed, like, everything.
Changes the game completely.
The next, like, 5 episodes. Like, this is
at least,
thing for... I mean, we debated this in the humanity episode at length, too, so you can watch a little bit more of that there. Because this is just going to be such, like, a big game changer for how things start going down now with Stefan.
Yeah.
And we, like, immediately see, like, the changes. Elena's screaming, no. But then Klaus commands Stefan, now kill them, Ripper.
Yes.
To obviously Dana and Chad, who Stefan immediately gets the vamp eyes. We see the fangs come out, and he charges at Dana, drinking her blood.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's over. I mean, that is like Stefan is gone. That is. Why was Stefan not drinking for Vane? That's what I gotta say about
He's an
this.
idiot. Yeah, didn't he learn anything from Catherine's time being with Klaus? Or
know.
Just anything from life?
Anything from anything.
Yeah, anything at all.
Anything from anything. Because it's also just like, I know Vervaine's hard to get, obviously. It would be a little hard, and also then you have to conceal it from Klaus that you're even drinking it. Well, come on. Do anything you can.
Worth it? Yeah.
It's so worth it. But obviously, it's over now for Stefan. Yeah. We'll be seeing more of that as this episode continues, because we do have to check back in on Jeremy.
Yes. Wait, but first, I also have to say, imagine being Dana and Chad. Wouldn't you be like, Stefan, doesn't third period history mean anything to you?
Yeah.
They don't even know. They don't know vampires exist.
They don't know anything.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything. And then suddenly Stefan's rushing at you, drinking your blood. Imagine Chad
somehow
watching.
This guy made you stand there with your leg up.
Yeah.
And like this other guy was going to beat you to death. And, like, it's just such an insane scenario. I wish they did give them like almost a little bit of screen time.
I know.
But it's
just give me a little dialogue.
I know, just one line or a little bit of a close up, just something to be like, this is wild.
Yeah. But no.
But anyway, for Dana, our fave. Can't believe we didn't get a stronger send off.
I know.
But there's too much happening. There's so much good that I understand why they couldn't. But I need an extended episode. If there was an episode to do an extended episode cut of, it's this one.
Yeah.
So back to Jeremy. He's on the Damon and Katherine road trip plot, obviously. He is like saying that their plan isn't gonna work.
Yes.
And we see Catherine's phone vibrates, and she pulls it out. She's looking at the message, and the message is a text from Bonnie asking, where are you? Clearly not Catherine's phone. Clearly she has Jeremy's phone.
Yeah.
And she tells Katherine, she's like, your witchy girlfriend is worried that you're running away with your ghostly lover. Which I thought was a brilliant line.
She always has the reads.
Yeah,
she just knows everything.
She knows everything, and then the perfect quip, like the perfect way to say that. Your witchy girlfriend and your ghostly lover. I thought that was so funny.
I love that.
So smart. Damon obviously doesn't love it. He's like, stop with the teeny bopper drama.
Yeah.
Which I was like, so funny, because Katherine really does love teeny bopper drama.
She really does.
She would have thrived in high school. She would have loved if she got to go to that high school. Stefan was basically forced. Katherine would have loved it. She would have ran that school.
She absolutely would have.
Yeah, her and Caroline would have been like head to head, battling for everything.
Oh, yes. So true.
It would have been really good if we got a Katherine in high school arc.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jeremy is like focused in, and Anna appears next to him saying, I'm not helping them.
Yep.
And he turns to her and says, like, it's okay to help. And Katherine and Damon exchange a look. They're obviously like, what's going on?
I guess she's here.
Yeah. Of course, indicating, that they can't see her. And Jeremy just looks crazy to them. Who we can see Anna, of course. And Anna tells Jeremy that Katherine and Damon are not friends to him. Like, he should not trust them. And Jeremy relays that to like them saying that, you know, Anna doesn't want to work with them. She doesn't want to help them. And Katherine whispers to Damon, my advice, if you want to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs.
I
Classic.
It's like, yes, the Katherine way.
The Katherine way of, like, beat the shit out of Jeremy so we can get what we want, basically.
Yeah.
Which Damon is
but Damon's on board.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
He walks up to Jeremy. He's like, it's nothing personal. And then slams his head against the table, completely, like, giving him a concussion for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, not a chance he's not. And Jeremy, like, yells out. I think you can see him starting to bleed at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's in this scene fully, but in, like, a later scene,
the next
huge,
one.
Gash.
Huge gash. Anna's, of course, freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's, like, yelling out, like, Jeremy. And Damon's, like, holding Jeremy's head, and he starts yelling to Anna, saying that, like, you know, she needs to tell them what she knows. And I also was just laughing at this because I was like, Damon's giving, like, that old person who's talking to someone they assume doesn't speak English, so they're just yelling. Because Anna's, like, we can see Anna's, like, a foot away from him.
She's right there.
But he's, like, screaming into the ether, like, you're wherever you are, Anna. It's like, I'm right in front of you. I can hear you.
I can hear you, yes.
So that just made me laugh because it was like he's giving, like a
little bit,
person trying to speak English to someone they think can't speak English. Who definitely can.
Or, like, an older person using a phone.
Yeah.
Like, screaming into it. It's like,
definitely.
It's not how the phone works.
Yeah, definitely. But of course this is working on Anna, who obviously cares about Jeremy. And so she blurts out that they're looking for Mikael. And she tells him that he is the vampire who hunts vampires. And she warns them, don't wake him up. He will kill all of you. Which Jeremy relays by saying, you two would be idiots for waking him up, which is kind of funny. But Jeremy then turns back to Anna and asks, what do you mean by wake him? And Damon and Katherine again exchange a look, and they're like, time to find the keys. We gotta get going.
Yeah, how they've already, I guess they've gotten enough. They're like, we'll get the rest out of Anna.
Yeah. Well, it seems like now she's willing to help. Like, she's telling them stuff.
She's gotten the hint.
Yeah. So that team is in action.
Yeah, they're on the move.
Yeah.
Also, not on the move at all, actually. We see Caroline, Rebekah in the hallway. Caroline sort of wakes up on the floor. Rebekah has someone's phone. I assume Caroline's.
Yeah, I was a little unclear if it was Caroline's or Elena's.
Due to the photo. I feel like it's not Caroline's.
I have no idea.
We'll get there. Rebekah is, like, you know, taking a selfie with the phone.
She's figuring out phones quick.
I was like, Rebekah somehow immediately knows how to take a selfie after being daggered boxed for like 90 years. And yet my 40 plus coworkers can't figure out email. Make it make sense. Biggest plot hole in all of Vampire Diaries.
It's so funny.
But anyway, she's a tech whiz and she's taking her selfie playing with the phone. And Caroline, as she's woken up, she sees Tyler, who's still down for the count. And she asks Rebekah what happened to Tyler. And Rebekah tells her that he's going to wake up as a hybrid in transition.
Yeah. Well, at first she's like, he's dead. Ish,
yeah.
The pause. Caroline's heart probably sank.
Yeah, probably. She was probably like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah, and she explains he will wake up as a hybrid. And Rebekah is like just still looking at the phone while talking to Caroline. And she finds a picture of Elena and Stefan just like, you know, posed right next to each other, couple pic.
Yeah.
And which is why I'm like, is this Caroline's phone?
She could have taken it.
She could have taken it, I guess. Yeah. And she is looking at the photo and Rebekah zooms in and realizes that Elena is wearing her necklace. Obviously, Rebekah is immediately pissed off. She, like, gets in Caroline's face and is like, is this her wearing my necklace? Like,
she says, why is that doppelganger bitch wearing my necklace?
Yes. Always just immediately petty.
Yeah, immediately going for the throat.
Yes. And, of course, you know, we see Rebekah is, like, basically going off to tell Klaus.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Which, before we see her get there, we see at the school gym, Stefan is feeding on Chad, who is on the ground dead. Obviously, they're both dead, and he's still just, like, feeding on their bodies.
Yeah.
And Elena is just looking pretty disgusted, like, definitely shocked.
Yeah.
Remember last week when she said she's seen Stefan at his worst?
Yeah, not even close.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, she had no idea.
She had no clue.
I don't think even then she thought this was something he was capable of. So, yeah. Shocker reality check like we talked about in episode 3.
Yeah.
And
Klaus is eating it up, though.
Klaus is eating it up. He's like, it's so nice to see a vampire in his true element. And Elena, again, denial, as always, is like, you made him do this. This is the only reason he did it. And Klaus says, I invited him to the party, love. He's the one dancing on the table. Which
I love him.
I love the way you said that. But I love this line. I think that's such an interesting point. Like,
no, it is.
He didn't say feed on them. He said kill them. He could have snapped at their neck.
True.
He could have ripped their heart out.
No, that's true.
He could have done any number of things.
He could also, have just fed on them like a little bit, enough to kill them.
Yeah,
nope, he's drinking them dry.
He's drinking them dry. He's drinking their bodies after they're already dead. And his humanity switch is not off yet.
True. Very important. This
is all very, like, a shocking, like, I wish we had thought of this specific scene within this episode to talk about in the humanity switch episode, because, man, is it, like, a weird one when you really think of it. Like, yeah, Klaus did compel him to kill that. But not to feed on them like this. Like, this is definitely where it's like, okay, this is where we're starting to see a little bit more of, like, Ripper Stefan, for sure. Of how little control he actually has. Like, well, if I gotta kill them, I might as well enjoy it.
Might as well have fun with it. Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe he's giving.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Rebekah rushes in at this point. And she is storming at Elena, demanding, where's my necklace? And she then shows Klaus the photo, because Klaus is obviously like, oh my God, like, what's going on? So she shows Klaus the photo of Elena wearing it, and he, like, zooms in. And, of course, Klaus makes this all about Stefan, because he's immediately like, well, more lies. More lies.
Which he's right. But
he's right, but it's funny that it's always about Stefan.
Yeah.
And Elena says that she doesn't have the necklace anymore, which, of course, Rebekah's like, you're a liar. Yeah. And she immediately rushes and vamps out at Elena and bites her neck.
Yes.
This is all over a necklace.
All over the necklace.
Insane. She doesn't care about the hybrids. This is about a necklace for Rebekah. Klaus, of course, like, pulls her off and is like, this is my doppelganger, girl. We can't do this.
Stop.
We can't be doing this. So he pulls her off, and this is where Rebekah's like crazy allegations are never going away. But anyway, so
also Elena drops to the ground in the scene.
She's just
covered in bruises.
Oh my God, she definitely is.
Poor Elena.
And so Klaus looks at Elena, who is like holding her neck. She's bleeding, and he says, "Where's the necklace, sweetheart?" Which is so funny. He calls everyone sweetheart. Where's the necklace, sweetheart? Be honest.
Be honest. Yeah.
And she says, "I'm telling the truth. Katherine stole it." And Klaus says, Katherine.
Of course.
Of course it's Katherine.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, why did I not kill her when I had the chance? I never learned. Like, she should have died 500 years ago.
As smart as he is, his, like, one weakness, he just never gets around to killing Katherine.
No, it really is, which is, like, Katherine's one strength in life, for real.
Yeah.
But anyway, Klaus is like, you know, back to business here, obviously. It's like, well, the necklace is gone, whatever. It would have made it easier for Bonnie, but we got to do this anyway. So he says, the hard way. And he says, since we're doing it the hard way, let's put a clock on it. This is where this episode is so iconic.
Yes, this is, like, this buzzer, like, the game clock is so iconic to me. This is really where I see, like, I agree the gym is more iconic.
Yeah.
But every scene.
Every part. But this is where, like I was saying, too, the suspense, the heightening, the, like, stakes being so high. Klaus goes over and he puts on the gym clock and he says, 20 minutes. 20 minutes is all he's giving them to figure out how to turn Tyler into a hybrid.
Insane.
Absolutely insane. So he puts it on, like, the buzzer goes off. You see it come up on the clock and it starts doing, like, you know, a countdown sound. And the suspense. This is television. Like, this is
peak
television.
Whatever the cinema equivalent word for television is, like, this is peak television.
This is peak television.
Yes.
It's so good. This is like, the escalation is insane. But anyway, so now Bonnie only has 20 minutes to figure out a solution to make Tyler successfully turn into a hybrid.
Yep.
So he tells them, no one leaves. Everyone stays here. And if Elena tries to run, Stefan, break her spine.
Well, more importantly, he said if Bonnie doesn't figure it out in 20 minutes, Stefan has to feed on Elena.
Yep.
Again, not feed to kill or anything, like a little feed. Yeah. But we all know Stefan. And they'll get into that.
Yeah, they will. But yes. So
if she tries to run.
And if she tries to run, fracture her spine. Then Rebekah and Klaus just walk out. Like,
they just leave. They're like, let's give these two a moment before Stefan literally kills her.
Yeah, we've set our time, Bob. That'll be fine. We'll come back in 20 minutes for the real show.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, whatever, 20 minutes are going to pass.
Yeah.
But anyway, we see still frantically trying to figure this out. Matt and Bonnie are on the phone. They've for some reason like split up at this point.
Yeah.
And Matt is kind of like walking into the weight room, and Bonnie's just saying like, I can't get a hold of Jeremy. And Matt suggests like they'll drive over to the Gilbert house and try to find Jeremy.
Yeah.
And Bonnie's like, okay, I'll wait by your truck. So they hang up, and Matt like looks in the weight room, and he sees like all of his clothes, like all of his stuff is thrown everywhere. Mm-hmm. But then he realizes like the clothes kind of make a trail to the pool. And then he walks, he follows the trail and he walks to the pool, and he sees his keys are in the bottom of the pool. So Matt takes his jacket off and takes off his shoes, and he's crouched by the edge of the pool. And Vicki is behind Matt trying to get him to like see or hear her or anything. Like she's kind of yelling, but we can see like he just can't hear or see her. Yeah. Like he's not reacting at all. And she like kicks one of his shoes into the pool again, like interacting with the physical world.
Yeah.
And he like is surprised. Like
he obviously jumps up like,
he's
what the hell?
Shocked. Yeah. And he like stands up. He's like kind of panting at this point, and then he looks at his phone on the floor, and he picks it up, and he sees a message. I know, this really kills me too. It's from an unknown number. I can help you, Maddie. And
First of all,
make it make sense.
First of all, Vicki can text people from the other side.
I know.
She could. Second of all, she could have said something better than "I can help you, Maddie." Maybe
it's Vicki.
Yeah. Literally anything else. Tell her the thing she needs to know about the doppelganger. I don't know anything else. Third of all, Vicki wants him to drown himself. She's like, kill yourself. Like, what? She's literally like, have a near death experience, and then we'll talk.
Death. No, he dies.
Literally insane.
Oh my god, it's crazy. Yeah, the text killed me.
Yeah, like just text him the answer.
Yeah, text him. Kill Elena. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, that's true. Kill Elena is less words than I can help you, Maddie.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense.
Makes no sense. It's so insane.
It is insane. It's ridiculous.
But it works on Matt, obviously.
Yeah, which again, I think like the Maddie is what clues.
That's true. That's such Vicki's the only one that says that.
Exactly. So he's like, "Whoa, Vicki." And, Matt's, the gears are turning. Matt's like, he's cooking up an idea. And again, the blue is bluing. I'm barely paying attention. But Matt calls Bonnie, and he tells her that Vicki is trying to reach him, and that he thinks Vicki can help them save Tyler. Bonnie is like, no.
Yeah.
Jeremy can help us, not Vicki. And Matt is like, we don't have that kind of time. Meet me at the pool. Yeah. Bonnie's like, huh?
Yeah, because she's out in the parking lot.
Waiting by the truck.
And we're seeing Matt grabbing huge weights, putting on a weight belt, like getting all of this supplies and taking it to the pool. So you're like, what is he doing? Of course, we do know what he's doing based on the keys at the bottom of the pool, what he's thinking.
Yeah.
But it's just insane. And so, yeah, Bonnie's like, what? Like, what are we doing? And she's like, he says that he's going to drown himself in the pool. He's like, meet me at the pool. Mm-hmm. Jeremy can see ghosts because you brought him back from the dead. So all you're going to have to do is do that for me. And she's like, I don't have access to that kind of magic anymore. Like, I can't do that. And he says, you don't need magic. All you need is to be better at CPR than I was back when we were lifeguards. Which is insane. It's just insane that he does this to Bonnie. It's like, we talked about this in the Why Do People Hate Matt Donovan episode that we did. So go watch that if you haven't. Because this scene is a real indicator for me of like, this is a good Matt episode.
It is a good Matt episode.
But a terrible thing to do to Bonnie.
Yeah, this is insane. Because like you had said, Bonnie is out by the truck. That was the plan to meet there. Yeah. I'm not sure how far this distance is.
But it
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We then see, like, Bonnie is running. Like, she runs through the school. Like, at this time, we see Matt is sinking to the bottom of the pool. We see, like,
he's dying.
He's dying. He's fully at the bottom of the pool. And she's running to try to get in there. And Bonnie, a real one, she dives in, doesn't even take off her shoes. Yeah. She's putting in the work. Matt is sick for making her do this. Which, he probably does not have much more time.
Because he had strapped all those weights to himself. So when he let himself, like, sink, we see him, like, his body trying to float, but he's weighted himself down. Yeah. So he's just fully drowning. He definitely looks like passed out. And his mouth is open. Clearly he's taking in water. Mm-hmm. He is dead. He's definitely looking dead. He's dead.
He's already unconscious at the least.
He's already unconscious. But Bonnie unbuckles like the belt, the weight belt, so that his body starts rising, and she takes him back up to like the top and pulls him out of the water. The cinematography here is wild.
It's so good.
I cannot imagine how rigorous this scene was to film for the actors, both Bonnie and Matt. Like, they had to have been in and out of that water for like a whole day. Like, that was probably a whole day of shooting just in the water. Is so difficult. But it was worth it. It looks so good.
It looks really good. I love, there's like a shot of Matt just like where he's suspended in the pool. Yeah. Like, where you can see the weight is on the bottom, but he's floating.
Yeah. I use that in, like, when we do aesthetic edits and things. I use that, like, shot a lot because I think it just looks so
It looks amazing. But, I was thinking about that. I was like, how did they film this? Yeah, what were the actors doing?
It's probably why it's Kat Graham's favorite episode.
Yeah, she put in the work.
Yeah, it probably was really hard work.
I'm sure, yeah.
Anyway,
she got him out.
But I will say, as much as like we talked about how this scene is so crazy of that he does this just to talk to Vicki, I forgot it also is with the added stake of like Tyler is his best friend.
That's true.
If Tyler dies too, like what's the point anymore?
No one.
Yeah, Matt's at his absolute lowest. They're hammering that in this episode about how Matt is truly like struggling and like is very alone and has no one to talk to. So it is a lot more understandable in that respect why he'd do something like this. But obviously it's still so horrible. It's like, call Bonnie.
Still so wrong.
Let her come stand by the pool while you do this and wait. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It didn't have to go down this way.
It didn't have to be like this.
It didn't have to be like
this. It occurred to me, I don't even think they know about the 20-minute clock. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they were in there. They weren't.
They were willing to just drive and go pick up Jeremy. They definitely don't know.
They don't know.
They're just like, we'll figure it out.
It's time sensitive, but not that much.
Also, on the 20-minute clock, I was kind of wondering about Tyler of like, how long does a hybrid have after they wake up? You would think it would be like a 24-hour to feed thing, same as a vampire. Yeah. But Klaus has always just immediately fed them and they've immediately died.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting of like, why did he pick the 20 minutes? He felt like that's what he probably knew that's how long it would take Tyler basically to wake up.
Yeah. Because he wanted to do it like immediately. Yeah.
So I don't know. Either way, it was mostly just that I want to see what happens.
Yeah. I think that was the main thing.
That's ultimately what they're getting at here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Matt's saved.
Yeah. Matt's alive. Thank God. But back on the road, we see, well, actually, we don't even see Matt's alive yet. Yeah, but anyway, but he will be. We all know he lives through everything.
Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, we see back on the road, Jeremy is like in the car, kind of falling asleep.
Covered in blood.
He has a serious head injury. Damon is like, "Don't fall asleep. You might have a concussion."
Yeah. I love he says Jer too. Don't fall asleep, Jer.
Jer, I know. So I like the Jer. And then, Damon asks Katherine where...
You were going to say Jeremy's like, thanks for the concern, dick. Like, this is your fault. I love their vibes.
I do love their vibes. Yeah.
So funny.
I know.
Underrated pairing.
It is an underrated pairing. It is also funny. It's like, you didn't have to do this to him, Damon. You didn't have to go that hard.
At all. Be like, Anna, I'm going to do this if you don't tell me.
Or do it a little gentler, but okay.
Either way.
But anyway... Damon asks Katherine where his phone is because Damon apparently hasn't had his phone this whole time. Mm-hmm. And Damon insinuates, like, I know you have it. Yeah. And Katherine is kind of toying with him.
Yeah, about Elena. Like, you got to check in with Elena.
Yeah. But again, eventually Katherine gives it over. And Damon looks at it and he sees that Bonnie has been texting him about Klaus. Mm-hmm. And Katherine tries to tell Damon, like, there's no going back. Like, we're doing this.
Yep.
And she even tries to say, like, finding Mikael is the best way to stop Klaus. Like, think of it that way.
Yeah, big picture.
Yeah, think of it big picture. And Damon is like, I'm going. And he gives Jeremy the car key. And Katherine tells him that he's going to go get himself killed. That Damon, I remember, wouldn't have been that stupid. And Damon tells her, I wouldn't have done it for you.
Oh,
Burn.
Snaps.
Got her.
Literally, Stelena forever.
Yes.
I forgot he said that when I was watching this episode, and I, like, shrieked a little bit. I was like, oh, I forgot he says that. That is insane.
He gets her. I know. This is a very strong Stelena episode.
Oh, my God.
It's so good. I love every moment
and I really forget it's a strong Stelena episode because, like, they're not together for so much of it, obviously.
Literally, like, the last scene, basically.
It's a very strong Stelena episode.
Yeah. And also kind of a strong Stelena episode.
Yeah, but it's kind of like in a negative way. It's like I'll talk about this in a little bit.
Yeah, I
have a lot to say about Stelena in this episode, but it is it is an important episode on their like relationship path. This is like such a game changer for them. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, for now, we've got to go back to the school, of course, and back to the pool where Matt's on the ground dead.
Yes. Yeah, he was not yet alive.
Yeah, he is lying on like the ground of the pool, and Bonnie is performing CPR on him, begging him, saying, "I can't do anything else. Like,
please
this is all
come back."
Can do." And we start to see Matt like in between life and death. He's in this like crazy, like white light, bright, like I don't know, obviously other side-esque type situation. And in that like white light place, Matt sees Vicki. Vicki is like sitting over him, and she tells him that he needs to listen carefully because they don't have much time, but she does have a message for Bonnie.
Yes.
And we see then Matt's like real life body with Bonnie wake up, and like he's spitting out water, and Bonnie is comforting him, telling him he's okay. So we didn't get to see what the message is, but presumably he got a message from Vicki to tell to Bonnie.
Yes.
Of course, we got to go back to the gym though.
But first, I have a question. Does this even make any sense that Matt would be able to see Vicki? Okay. Simple no. Because she must be on the other side. Like, Vicki doesn't answer when he asks, where am I, where are we? It must be the other side, I assume. But Matt isn't supernatural. I don't think he's even wearing the Gilbert ring at this point.
No, he's not. Here's the thing. There's so much like lax rules around what is death, what is near death, what is coming back from the dead, what is all of these things that there's no defined rules, and at this point they're playing with it. But we never see anything like this again where someone almost dies and is like, I don't want to say realistically, I can't think of what the word is, but is like logically like brought back from the dead in like an actual way. We don't know a lot about that, so we just don't know. So they're just playing with what the rules are. The rules don't exist.
Yeah, I think my problem is just like it's presumably the other side. But there's no reason why Matt would ever go to the other side. Here's the thing, it might not
be, because Vicki has some ties, as we'll find out in some later episodes, that are making the rules for Vicki very different than they are for everyone else.
That's true. I guess that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, but I think that is the explanation, is that Vicki's got people on her side that are going to make sure things happen the way they want it to happen.
I guess, that's
which we'll get into at a later point. Because how is Vicki interacting with the physical, too? She shouldn't be able to.
True.
There's some things going on there we'll get into in later episodes.
Fair. I'll let it slide.
Yeah, for now we got to check back in on Stelena. At the gym, they're still, of course, waiting. We see the 6 minutes are left on the timer. Stefan is like pacing. He's like, this is not good.
Yeah.
Elena is telling him about Caroline's dad, about Bill Forbes, how he resisted compulsion.
Girl.
She doesn't know how he did it, but he did it. It proves that you can resist compulsion too if you just try.
BFFR.
Literally, that's like the theme for Elena.
Yeah.
Stefan literally laughs at her.
Which he's basically same page as us.
Yeah, he literally laughs at her, and he's like, oh, right, like maybe just a little focus, maybe just a couple decades of training, no big deal.
Yeah, which
so
also,
sassy.
I had another thought when we were listening to this. Stefan makes a great point. How does Bill even do it? He's been training since he was like theoretically like 20.
I think so. That's the implication he gives, because he says it took years of training.
But also, I think, too, like this specific example, like Stefan being compelled by Klaus, wouldn't Bill have needed someone to be like repeatedly compelling him
you have to
like
test it? How did he know?
Yeah, how did he know he could even do it?
I don't know. Maybe
Doesn't
he didn't
really
know that he could.
Not worth discussing in this episode, but I'm like, it's not adding up. But Stefan has some good points.
Yeah, the logic of all of that is
makes
weird.
No sense.
Yeah, and anyway, the logic of Elena's suggestion here is just so illogical.
Ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Because also you have to assume Klaus is probably one of the best at compelling people theoretically.
Yeah, he's been doing it 1,000 years.
Yeah, Damon has bad technique. Klaus has to have the best technique, you'd imagine.
Presumably, yeah.
But anyway, Elena tells Stefan, like, he can control it. Like, when the buzzer goes off, just drink. Just do it. But only a little bit. And he tells her, he's like, I won't be able to stop. Like, when I start drinking, I'm not going to stop. I am a ripper. And he says, like, he can't even hear the words she's saying right now. All he can hear is the blood pumping in his, like it's insane. He's like, I'm not even listening to you. I'm listening to your blood pumping right now.
Yes. Elena's blood is my Matt blue eyes. I can't hear anything.
Can't not pay attention to it. It's so there. But as usual, Elena says she doesn't believe him. He just needs to want it bad enough. And he's like, because I love you. And she says, that's right, Stefan, because you love me, you'll fight for it, because after everything that we've been through, you owe me that. Which I was kind of like, okay, get his ass.
Yeah,
like,
true.
That's fair.
True.
I do think that's kind of fair.
Yeah. But, I also love the sass she comes out the gate with. She's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because you love me.
You do love me.
Yeah.
They've obviously, again, they've been through such ups and downs, like, in these last few episodes. And, like, last episode, we talked about it a lot, how it's, like, it really did feel like it was over for them. He basically broke up with her.
Yeah.
And so now it is interesting to have them in this situation where it's like, yeah, actually, you do love me. Maybe try here. Maybe act like there's some other option than you literally killing me right now. Because technically you don't have to.
Yeah, just feed on me for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but he's like adamant that he can't do that. But yeah, this dialogue during this whole sequence as it starts to continue is so memorable to me. I feel like I can vividly like see and like hear this whole scene playing out in my head as like we're saying it. And as it continues, because Stefan tells Elena that he owed her everything because she has been the one thing that has kept him from just turning it all off, turning off all of his emotions, reminding us that that's a possibility, a thing that happens, but that he can't help it. The more blood he gets, the more he wants it. And if he gets so much as a taste of her blood, she will be dead.
Yeah, it's over.
And then we see 5 minutes left on the timer. They're setting us up really strong. The intensity's so good because then we cut away to the classroom where Caroline, Tyler, and Rebekah are. So it's definitely just like things are moving. You're not getting a second here to like wait or breathe or think or do anything. It is like everything is being used to accentuate like some bigger plot point. Like that's just what's continuing to happen. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, we see like things are moving so fast. Rebekah actually checks her clock like in this very next scene and she sees like there's like 3 minutes remaining. Rebekah also is using every single app on this phone. They gave her a little Jeremy Bing Gilbert moment. She's using every app.
She's a technology queen after 2 days.
She really is. She was like, I don't even need to look at the clock on the wall.
I can set a timer.
But anyway, she's playing with the phone, whatever, and suddenly Tyler wakes up. He asks like what's happening, and Caroline tells him like you're in transition to becoming a hybrid, and Rebekah's like, don't forget to tell the full truth here. And then Rebekah tells him like if Bonnie isn't successful, he's gonna die basically.
He won't survive.
Yeah. So anyway,
Caroline's like, you'll be okay.
It's okay. Yeah. So Tyler's now caught up. He's also brought back to life. And we have probably like 2 minutes left on the timer at this point.
Oh, yeah. I love this because she does say 2 minutes left. She shows her phone and she says, tick tock goes the gym clock, which I thought was really funny.
That was a good little line for Rebekah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we see still working on this, Matt and Bonnie in the hallway going back to the gym at this point. And Bonnie's like, as soon as you're better, Matt, I'm going to kill you.
She forgot to give a single fuck about Tyler also. Yeah. She's just like, she's like, I have bigger fish to fry. Matt's trying to kill himself.
Literally did successfully do it.
That's true.
Drown himself. Anyway, Matt is like, it was all worth it. It worked. I saw Vicki. And she told me that Elena shouldn't have survived Klaus's ritual.
Yeah.
Of course. And he says the hybrids can't transition because Elena's still alive. That was the message that Vicki had for him.
Yep. From the like original like witch that put the curse on. Like he tells her that Vicki said it was from the original witch that put the curse on Klaus.
Yes. And Bonnie at this point, she's finally remembering. She's like, Tyler.
Yeah.
And Matt is like, he's gonna die, isn't he? And of course we see Klaus is behind them.
Yeah, just
and is
eavesdropping.
like, just eavesdropping. And is like, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Given the choice between doppelganger or hybrid, I go hybrid every time.
I love that line.
Iconic. I know. I love that line too. Yeah. Which I was like, so obvious. Matt is so clueless if he thought there was ever a chance.
Yeah, I was shocked that they weren't like, Elena's gonna die. They were like, Tyler's gonna die.
No, obviously it's going to be Elena. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But anyway, we go back to the gym where Elena is and we see 16 seconds left on the clock. Time is just draining away. Stefan is like, Elena, you have to run.
Yeah.
Again, she's resistant. She's like, no, it's going to be fine. And he is begging her. Yeah. Like, he's saying, Elena, please, 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 please. Like,
yeah.
Really,
if you stay, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he tells her, like, she says, she can't run because then he'd have to fracture her spine.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it doesn't even matter. And Elena tells him there's another way. He can fight it.
Of course.
And just then, the buzzer runs out. And Elena's like, I love you. Fight it. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Girl.
BFFR. The Elena slogan.
Exactly. And he does try, to his credit, but he says, like, he can't hold it.
Yeah.
And he, like, vamps out and rushes at Elena, and
she screams.
She screams, of course. But he rushes past her, so he's, like, kind of, like, forcing himself to miss, even though he's, like, kind of drawn toward her.
Resist it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he, like, hits the opposite wall, and he screams at her to run. So, of course, she does start running. A classic Elena running through the halls scene again.
I just love the implication here, though, that it is easier for Stefan to resist the compulsion, at least a little bit, than it is to resist just not draining Elena. It's easier to resist Klaus' compulsion than it is to resist draining her dry. I was like, that's insane, but okay, whatever.
No, that's true. That's a really good point.
Sure. Stefan's like insane for being like, I can resist compulsion, but not like stop when I've started drinking.
Her dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crazy. But anyway, Elena's now running through the school, an iconic use of the high school. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
And Stefan is trying so hard to avoid feeding on her that he's like pinballing down the hallway.
He's physically crashing into walls.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah, literally like when Elijah was like, couldn't be in the house.
That's true.
Literally.
Same thing.
Yeah. And she like runs into one of these rooms and she like closes the door behind her and she turns and she sees
she crashes
into Klaus just back.
Yeah.
And Stefan then at this point,
you gotta
like,
say the line Klaus says. I love the line Klaus says. She crashes into Klaus just like she did at the start of the episode. And he says, "We've got to stop meeting like this." I was like, is he trying to flirt with her, or is he just like, hey, it's just so funny. He's just naturally flirty.
He's so flirtatious.
Yeah,
I love him. But yes, Elena crashes into Klaus, and we see Stefan runs into the cafeteria, and he sees like a broom, and he takes it, breaks it over his knee, and he stabs himself in the stomach with it to get himself to stop chasing after Elena, to weaken himself.
Yeah.
And just then, Klaus enters with Elena, of course.
Yeah.
And Stefan sort of looks at them, and Klaus delivers
the most memorable line.
The most iconic lines in the series. So iconic, they used it as the tagline in like
every episode.
Every recap of every episode. Klaus says, "Now this is fascinating. I've never seen this before. The only thing stronger for your craving for blood is your love for this one girl."
That's so iconic. So iconic.
But then he follows it up and he says, "So why don't you turn it off?"
Oof. Here we go, folks.
Yeah, here we go. So Klaus lets go of Elena and he starts getting in Stefan's face, screaming at him to turn it off.
Yeah.
And Stefan is like, "No!"
I know, I was going to say,
there's a lot of screaming.
I feel like I can picture the exact of Klaus, turn it off.
Yes.
Stefan, no.
Yes.
And Klaus, turn it off.
And then Stefan screaming, "No!"
Yeah, they're just back and forth.
Yeah.
Until Klaus pushes Stefan against the wall and starts actually compelling him, telling him to turn his emotions off. And we see Stefan's face change as it happens. Like, it's like, okay, it's over. And Elena is in shock and she says, "What did you do?" And Klaus turns around towards her and he says, "I fixed him." It's so like earnest the way he says that. Like, it really, again, the dynamics between Klaus and Stefan are like so crazy.
Off the charts.
So he fixed him. And the fact that Klaus could be off making hybrids right now, could be off doing anything else, and instead he's just like playing with Stefan.
I know.
It's also so funny that this is what he's choosing to do, like how to spend his time.
Yeah.
He's obsessed. But anyway, Klaus says, they need a test. They need to see if Stefan's emotions are off. So he walks up to Elena and kind of like, stands over her and addresses Stefan as saying, "Ripper, perhaps you'd like a drink." And he like pushes Elena's hair off her neck and says, "From the doppelganger's neck." Ugh. Stefan, obviously, emotions are off. He does not look like Stefan anymore. He gets the full vamp eyes and he runs forward and he bites Elena.
Yep. No hesitation.
Yep. No thoughts, no feelings, no no thought behind his eyes. That's what he's giving, is like truly like lifeless monsters. What Stefan looks like in that shot. So yeah, he attacks Elena and we cut away. We don't really know like what's happened after that, but clearly some time has passed, and you know, you get through this scene that happens next that clearly some other things happened there, because we go back to the classroom where Klaus now walks into the room where Rebekah, Tyler, and Caroline have been hanging out. And Klaus tells them, the original witch says the doppelganger should be dead. Rebekah gets up all excited. She's like, so we get to kill her? Like,
she's ready.
Yeah, she's like, let me do it. I'll volunteer. But Klaus says no. I'm fairly certain that it actually means the opposite. Rebekah obviously is not happy about that, but she does help grabbing Caroline and like restricting her. I was like, that didn't feel that necessary.
I know, not at that moment, but sure.
Yeah, I don't think that was that needed, but okay. So she's holding Caroline back. But also, I have to point out, this is crazy. This is the first Caroline-Klaus scene. This is the first meeting of Caroline, which is insane. Is it? Yes, this is the first scene they've had together.
Oh my god.
She's heard about him, and he's presumably heard about her too. But this is the first time they're actually even seeing each other physically.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which, obviously, it's like a nothing scene. And realistically, because they don't even take really much acknowledgement of each other because they're both focused on Tyler. But it is crazy, obviously, the larger implications of Caroline. Yeah. So excited. We are massive Caroline shippers.
Yes.
So I'm so ready for that plot line.
Same.
That I'm already mentioning it before it's even like
it's
a thing.
only just become a thing.
They've only just met. But it is crazy because like he does call her love in this scene. He says like, if he doesn't feed, he'll die anyway. Love to Caroline.
Of course.
Because he gives Tyler a test tube saying that it's Elena's blood and that Tyler needs to drink it. And Caroline's telling him not to do it, but that's when he says like, he'll die anyway, love, if he doesn't drink it. So Tyler does drink the little like vial of blood. And Klaus calls him a good boy, which I also thought was funny. Okay.
It feels very like another like little nod to Tyler being like a dog.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, this little
I
dog.
feel like Damon might have said the same thing to like Mason at some point or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they do treat them a little dog like.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Tyler starts like coughing. He's like obviously not taking the blood very well, and he falls to the floor. He's screaming. He's writhing in pain, and he holds his head up. And he's like screaming, and then his face starts to change, and we see the yellow werewolf eyes, the vampire veins, and the vampire fangs. That combined classic werewolf vampire face that we've only ever seen on Klaus, and we now see on Tyler. And Klaus says, well, that's a good sign. Tyler's a hybrid.
Yep. It's complete.
What a scene.
Yes. Oh, such a good scene. And we see definitely like Klaus somehow confirmed it worked because the next time we see Elena, it's nighttime still. She wakes up in the hospital. We see the little Mystic Falls hospital sign. Yeah. And we see a nurse in the room with her telling her that she's suffered a terrible ordeal.
And she's lost a lot of blood. And
Elena like tries to leave, and Elena then looks down and realizes it's her blood going into a blood bag.
Yeah, she's not being given blood.
Yeah,
she's being taken.
It's being taken. Because the blood bag is filling up with her blood. And the nurse tells her, it's very important for your friend Klaus.
Yeah.
So good.
And she like pushes her back into this.
She pushes her back down. And Elena does start to struggle. And the nurse just injects her with something. Yeah. Some sort of sedative.
Yeah.
And Elena like just falls back asleep.
Yeah. Obviously nurse is compelled to do whatever Klaus wants. Yeah. And what he wants is Elena's blood. Obviously. Yes. Where we cut outside of the hospital, you clearly see it's like the entrance to the hospital, and Klaus and Rebekah are standing there in the parking lot, clearly like waiting for Elena to be, drained of every last drop, basically. And the fact that Klaus even dropped Elena off at the hospital to be drained is so funny. I don't even know. What I'm imagining is he had to pull Stefan off of Elena to not actually kill her.
Of course.
He had to get his little vial of blood to bring to Tyler, and he compelled Stefan to take Elena to the hospital, and now he's waiting to pick her up. Pick up his blood sack, basically. Yeah.
Literally his human blood bag.
Literally. So funny. And so Rebekah asked Klaus in this scene how he knew that Elena's blood would even work. And he says, like, the original witch hated him. She hated him. Do you think I would honestly do anything other than the opposite of what she says, is what he says to Rebekah. And Rebekah says, 1,000 years in the grave and she's still screwing with you. Getting a lot of setup of the original witch. That's why I'm like mentioning this. Of course. It's interesting to see this early setup before. We don't know. It's just a random witch. That's all we know.
Yeah.
So Klaus explains that, like, it makes sense from the witch's perspective that, like, a failsafe in case Klaus did ever manage to actually kill the doppelganger and break the curse would be to, like, have the blood be the one thing that actually makes it work. It negates the whole thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rebekah completes that thought with, like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to create your new species with her being dead. And so Rebekah is definitely surprised and offended when Klaus says, leaving me alone for all time, after, like, saying that he wouldn't be able to make any hybrids.
Which is kind of brutal. Literally, Klaus
awful.
This is, like, obviously, like, a through line for all of us rewatchers, but you could literally have your whole family, and you're basically choosing not to. Like, come on, Klaus. Especially Rebekah. She's a ride or die.
She's such a rider.
She's taking a shit. He's calling her, like, basically a bitch at every turn.
That's true. Yeah, but I love that we get these layers to his character by saying, like, he thinks that by not being able to create hybrids, that's leaving him alone for eternity. Like, that is so much depth and story elements that we haven't seen to Klaus's character before. So it's really interesting that he chose to say this, and of course that, like, Rebekah's reaction to that. But he's like, she says, like, is that what you think? That would just, like, leave you alone forever? But Klaus says to that, what I want is to take my girl, take my hybrid, and get the hell out of this one pony town. Which I love that line. I think it's so funny. Though his accent works so well on it.
I know.
And of course, so to be Klaus's girl, I was like, love.
Oh my God, a dream.
Yeah, if that were me.
This always makes me think such a missed opportunity to not have a little Klaus-Elena relationship. But then again, I think that about her and everyone.
Yeah,
so
her
I guess
and
it just wouldn't work. But yeah.
Elena just has to be with everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he tells Rebekah to go get the truck while he, like, go gets Elena. And Rebekah leaves, and right as she leaves, we see Damon shows up, and he is pissed, obviously. Obviously, he had to run all the way there since he gave the car keys.
Yeah, I guess. Dude, we didn't think about that. I meant to mention something about that, but yeah, he ran back from God knows where.
Yeah, probably, or he stole a car. I don't know.
I guess.
Either way, he's there. He's pissed, and Klaus is like, "Finally, you've made it to the party." And Damon is no nonsense. Where is she? And Klaus tells him she's making a donation to a greater cause, which means nothing to Damon, obviously, who goes, like, towards the hospital. He tries to just, like, walk past Klaus, but obviously he stops him, and he says, like, he can't let Damon interfere with, like, what's going on. And Damon says, like, well, Klaus, you're going to have to kill me to not, like, get me in there. And Klaus is like, more than happy to do it. He, like, gives a whole speech about Stefan and how he has more, like, you know, honor or whatever. But he's like, actually, Stefan wouldn't care anymore.
Probably doesn't care anymore.
I guess deal's off anyway. So Klaus pins Damon against a car, about to kill him, but Damon blurts out, don't you want to know about your friend Mikael? And Klaus is gobsmacked. He is shocked.
Yeah.
He is literally, like, his jaw drops. He has no clue. He's frozen.
Yep.
And Damon tells Klaus that Mikael knows he's there, that he and Katherine found Mikael. And a callback to, you know, all of the leverage. He says, consider it our leverage. And Klaus, like, then, like, throws Damon across the parking lot at another car and just, like, disappears. He, like, runs away.
Yep.
And, you know, leaving Damon able to just, like, walk right into the hospital. He, like, goes upstairs and he finds Elena in her hospital room. And it made me want to tear up and cry seeing Damon's face, looking at Elena, obviously feeling so bad.
Oh my God, so
guilty for, like, not being there, for just, like, having a day where he wanted to run off and, like, you know, like, he was being like a brat, like, being like, I'm gonna run off by myself with Katherine, and he was being a brat, and obviously that resulted in Elena being in the hospital now. Like, he obviously feels so bad, and he starts pulling, like, the tubes out of her and all the needles and whatever, and he's, like, inspecting them, realizing that Klaus was drawing Elena's blood. Obviously really weird. He doesn't know what's, like, gone on all day. And she starts to wake up, and she says, Damon. And he says a little, like, hey.
Yeah.
And he scoops her up, and he carries her, like, bridal style out of the hospital. Obviously, like I said earlier, hero. He saved the day.
I love him.
Literally, like, I love this scene so much.
I do love this scene.
I forget that it even happens, but I love it. Obviously,
I know.
Biased Elena shippers, we know. But I love it.
It's still so good. No, I know. I love this scene, too. Also having their little moment, we see Caroline and Tyler. Tyler's feeling good. They're hand in hand walking down the hallway. He's fully recovered from his transition, And Caroline asks him, like, how are you feeling? And Tyler says, I feel great. Mm-hmm. He's feeling good. And he, like, lifts Caroline up at this point, like, spins her around and kisses her and tells her this is going to be an amazing year.
Yeah.
Just,
he's phenomenal.
he's riding the high of finally becoming a hybrid. Like, his peak is about to end, but he's at his peak now.
But she looks worried.
She's definitely concerned.
I don't trust any of this.
Yeah, no. And then we see... Also still at the school, Matt is, tying his shoes in the weight room. And Bonnie appears in the doorway and asks him for a ride to Jeremy's house. They're going to go over there. And Matt is like, yeah, 1 second. Like, hold on. And Bonnie says to Matt basically like, I get it, but what you did today was reckless and stupid. And Matt says he knows, but it was worth it. And Bonnie tells him, she's basically telling him, like, you're the one of us that gets to be normal. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't forget that. And, like, basically telling him not to get caught up in all of this. And Matt is pretty much just like, yeah. Like, whatever. I hear ya. And then he says, Vicki is here with me, so I need a second to say goodbye.
Yeah, I know she can hear me.
Yeah, I know she can hear me. Also kind of just trying to get Bonnie to maybe go away a little bit. And Bonnie does actually leave, but Matt notices like someone's shadow, or like he hears a little something, and he thinks it's Bonnie, and he starts saying to Bonnie, like, Bon, like, whatever, it's okay. And he doesn't even finish his sentence when he turns his head around and he sees Vicki is standing right there, and he like can very clearly actually see her.
Sees her now.
Yeah. And Vicki sits down next to him and says, hi, Maddie. And he smiles at her.
Matt getting to see Vicki, I started crying.
Okay, I teared up too. No, I teared up too. I was like, actually, Matt is very sympathetic.
So sympathetic in this episode. They went hard on the Vicki and the not having anybody and all of that this episode.
They did.
So emotional.
And it worked. It paid off.
And he just smiles, like getting to look at her. It's so sweet.
It's really cute.
Going into the less cute, going into the tragic that is
just
cute like
for a moment.
Cute for a moment, but overall, I would say is mostly just
less
like
cute. Yeah,
more the tragedy than anything else. At the Salvatore house, of course, Damon is pouring Elena a glass of like bourbon, and he tells her that it will help her forget. And she takes a sip. She looks shell-shocked. This is where I'm saying it's less cute because good. She's like in the chair. She looks like she's just gone through a trauma. She's got a blanket wrapped around her because she has just gone through a trauma. She takes a sip, and like he tells her that it'll help her forget, and that there are other ways that he could help her forget, take away certain memories, obviously alluding to the fact that he could compel things away that she doesn't want to remember. But she refuses, saying like, no, like this, there are things I need to remember. I need to remember everything that happened this day. And Damon again offers Elena the necklace that Stefan had given her, obviously, and saying he stole it back from Katherine. But instead, this time, she doesn't take it. She doesn't move. She just keeps talking. There is so much symbolism around this stinking necklace.
I know.
We should do a special about the necklace.
We should. Put it in the notes. Someone remind us.
Like, it just shows.
No,
like,
it's so true.
It perfectly tracks the Stelena relationship. It shows how much has changed. And this really got me thinking when she didn't take it here. I was like, we've said it's done. We've said it's the bridge when it's over. I think it's over now. I think it's over.
I think it is. No, I actually thought about it when you were saying, you were describing a scene earlier and you were saying Elena is disgusted. I was like,
it's over.
Actually, I didn't really fully pick up on the level of like disgust that is underlying some of the shock.
Yeah.
But I'm like, actually, I think you're right. I think it's done.
Over. She's fighting it. She's definitely fighting it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to. Because obviously, I mean, I think it means, that she's kind of moving on to Damon, which I don't think she's ready for.
Yeah.
But it's over with Stefan.
And so Damon just like sets the necklace on the table. Yeah. Realizing she isn't going to take it. Because she's just kind of talking through saying that like, Stefan's really gone this time.
Yes.
Like, she watched it happen.
Yeah.
After everything they went through, he's gone.
Yep.
Again, to what we were just saying about like it's done.
It's over. Done. It's over.
Elena's
he's gone and it's over. Yeah.
He's gone. It's over.
Yep.
And so Damon, of course, like sets the necklace down and he puts his hand like on her knee, and Elena says through tears, "Where were you, Damon?" That broke me. That she's like crying, looking at him like, "Where were you?" And it breaks him too.
It does.
He obviously looks really upset, and he has his hand on her leg, and he says, "Like, I shouldn't have left. I promise you, I will never leave you again." and they're looking at each other. It is so intimate.
Yes.
Like, Elena is definitely a person, obviously, with abandonment issues based on how many people in her life have died.
Yes.
And promising to never leave her again was, like, the magic words, I think. Like, this, I have never thought about this episode so much in terms of Stelena and Delena. But, man, this episode is, like, a massive shift. And, like we were just saying, Stelena's over. And this moment, I think, was a huge moment to, like, establishing Delena officially. Of, like, Elena, like, obviously can't deal with somebody leaving her like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, everyone in her life ever has died. And Damon promising that he's not going to do that to her is, like, it's insane.
And actually getting his first hero moment when he saves her from the hospital.
That's true.
It's all falling into place.
It really is all falling into place.
I love this.
And falling out of place for Stefan.
Well, yes. Now it fell in, and now for a moment, yeah.
For someone else to fall in, it must fall out for the other.
Yes.
That's kind of what they were set up to do here.
Yeah.
Because, of course, we break the tension of this whole moment when no humanity Stefan suddenly walks into the room like, well, isn't this cozy?
I hate him for ruining this. I love Ripper / No Humanity Stefan, but I hate him for ruining this moment.
I know. I really would have been curious where that scene went if he hadn't walked in. I don't think they would have been crazy enough to kiss or anything to happen, but it was definitely just so emotional.
Very.
So he's like, well, isn't this cozy? Mm-hmm. They both look up, obviously shocked, surprised that Stefan is there. They obviously assumed he just left town with Klaus.
Yeah.
And Damon stands up, like asking
hand
him,
off the knee.
Hands off the knee, not touching her. And he says, what are you doing here, brother?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's like, oh, we thought you were gone.
Yeah.
And Stefan walks in, pours himself a drink. He tells them that Klaus has left town, but he left Stefan there to keep watch over Elena. That she is now under Stefan's protection. And he, like, holds up his glass, kind of cheers his Damon. And he takes a drink from it, saying, by all means, carry on. And he just wanders out of the room. Damon and Elena look at each other like, what?
What?
What just happened?
Yeah. What a roller coaster of emotions for them.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for them, for us. It literally is, what a scene. I could talk at length about it, but I know this is already a long episode, so we'll save it.
Yeah. We'll come back to it.
But yeah, so many thoughts about that. But of course, we've got one scene left at the cemetery.
Yes, we see Katherine and Jeremy. What a random pairing.
Yeah, the fact Katherine wanted like a sidekick so bad and she got stuck with Jeremy is hilarious. You know, she's pissed about that.
For sure. Yeah, she thought she was getting Damon to occasionally make out with.
Yeah, and she got Jeremy.
Jeremy.
She definitely can't make out with. He'd be like, you look exactly like my sister.
I hope not.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. But anyway, they're in front of like a crypt in a cemetery. Katherine is sort of like skeptical. She asks Jeremy, like, could Anna have tricked you? Mm-hmm. And Jeremy's like, no, this is the place. Anna said that, you know, this cemetery in Charlotte is where a witch entombed Mikael in the 90s.
Yep. Hint,
it's a fun little hint. Yeah, we'll come back to that. And they go over to the crypt and they look through the door window and they see there's some sort of tomb inside. So Katherine breaks open the doors. She sort of looks at the tomb and pushes the slab of stone or marble, whatever, off of it. And we see Mikael laying in it, mummified, chained up, like, you know, looking like desiccated.
Yeah, clearly a vampire. This is not a human. Yeah. This is not a dead human.
Not a dead human. Yeah, clearly, like, you know, desiccated vampire. And as soon as that tomb opens, Mikael opens his eyes.
Yeah, the eyes fling open.
Yep.
Cut.
End of episode.
What an insane episode.
Wild. No second was wasted.
No.
Top 10 episode.
Yeah.
Probably not. But like, I like to say.
It might be a top 10 episode.
It's one really up there for me.
It's one that would definitely be on the list where I'd have to really think about it. Because let's be real. It's one of those ones where the actual quality of the episode, it is objectively a top 10 episode.
Oh, quality-wise, absolutely.
Let's be real. It is
some of these shots. 10. I mean, it's actually very cinematic.
It really is. It's the the favoritism towards Delena or Stelena that's going to draw you maybe towards other episodes, but this all around is the best episode of the show. No doubt.
Yeah.
No debate.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree.
Fantastic episode. But we want to hear from you, of course.
Yeah.
So now it's time for a message from our voicemail host of the week.
Season 3, episode 5. Don't you think, like, Klaus and Elena has so much chemistry? Like, if Elena and Damon never became a couple, I would have definitely shipped Klaus and Elena together. Like, they have so much chemistry. Like, they just have so much chemistry. I love you guys so much. I love you.
Thank you from our voicemail host. Now going into our usual outro stuff.
Yeah, this week for deaths, we have a few deaths. Tyler was killed by Klaus, but he transitions into being a hybrid. Mm-hmm. Dana and Chad were both drained dry by Stefan.
R.I.P. to some real ones.
Yeah, rip to a real one. Dana, she was in it for a minute, but
we loved her.
Now it's over.
Yeah.
And then this one I'm not as sure about counting, but Matt, I think technically died. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I was gonna say when it's an actual human death and then like
they come back.
I don't think that counts.
Yeah.
Because if you knew someone who said I almost died, I like drowned and was like resuscitated.
I guess it's true. Die. You wouldn't be like they died. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think no. I think
okay, that's fair.
I think it's Tyler, Dana, and Chad are our deaths of the episode.
That's fair. Nice 3 rounded out.
Yeah. So yeah, for such an intense episode, some minimal deaths, but definitely some impactful ones.
Dana.
Yeah, Dana, our real one. So now we've got our out of pocket things we would have done differently.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple contenders, but overall, it's such a solid episode that like
I know
it's kind of like a funny one.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like there's nothing I would do differently because sometimes we say that. And then out of pocket, I don't know. There's like a lot of seriousness.
Yeah, I have 2.
Okay, I had one thought, but go ahead.
Interesting. First thing that came to mind was Matt making Bonnie run through the halls save him.
That was what I was thinking.
That was like, so funny.
That is out of pocket.
Yeah, that one is out of pocket. But as we were recording, I thought of another one that was like, how did I not think of this as out of pocket? Katherine putting Jeremy in the trunk.
Okay, that's true.
Not necessary at all. I can kind of argue Matt's logic of being like, if Bonnie's right here, she's not going to let me do this. I have to do it. You know, whatever. True. Like, of course, like, there's a little bit of logic there. Mm-hmm. Katherine putting Jeremy in the trunk is so unnecessary. That's Katherine just being Katherine.
No, I think I like going with Katherine because also the Matt thing is almost too serious in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but Katherine just randomly kidnapping Jeremy and making him ride in the trunk. That's for sure out of pocket. So that's our winner.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Katherine. Mm-hmm. As for quote, so many quotes. I feel like we said 1,000.
Oh, so many.
Yeah, I think I have like
I think we have to do honorable mentions first because the winner is so obvious. The quote.
Yes.
As we kind of talked about. So I feel like we got to throw some shout outs here. I have several other Klaus ones I want to mention quickly.
I was gonna limit myself. I just have the one that I was gonna go with for an honorable mention. So I'll say that one. I really liked when Klaus tells Stefan the lies keep piling up.
So funny.
I was just really
with lying in this episode.
It's like got him. He's I don't know. It's just funny.
I love when Elena runs into him and he says, "We've got to stop meeting like this."
That's a really good one.
So like flirty.
Yeah.
And also I love the. What I want is to take my girl, take my hybrid, and get the hell out of this one pony town.
I did really like that one, too.
It's mostly how he says it. I can't replicate it, so go listen to it. Yes. Like the way he says it, but it's funny.
It is really good.
But obviously, there was a Klaus quote that was so, like, it's like the Katherine one in season 2 of, like, loving them both. It's like, there's a quote that's so obviously the quote.
Yes.
And it's, of course, when Klaus says, the only thing stronger than your craving for blood is your love for this one girl. We're going to hear it 1,000 times in the previous Leons.
I basically hear it in my head every day. It lives in my head rent-free.
I know. It's one of the most memorable
It's just
quotes.
so memorable. I mean, because I hear it like every remaining episode of season 3, it plays.
Previously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
an obvious
best quote.
Obvious winner.
Klaus wins best quote. That
Definitely.
was such a favorite.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an obvious winner for song, but I think there's an obvious Rippa Diaries winner for song.
I was going to say, it was obvious to me.
It was obvious to the Rippa girls.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do have an honorable mention.
Okay, me too.
I want to call out Torch Song by Shady Bird.
Yeah, that's...
hard one to pronounce.
Yeah.
But it's when Damon, of course, saves Elena at the hospital, and then as we see Caroline and Tyler like walking through the school, it's the classic emotional ending. You always got to shout it out.
And I liked it. One. Yeah, I thought it was kind of memorable too. Like when it starts playing in the Stelena scene, I was like, okay.
I thought it was memorable too. Anyone else would probably say it's the winner, but we have revealed our bias for this specific band.
Obviously.
They had to win.
The winner is, of course, TV on the radio. Will Do is the song. Yeah. It plays when Damon and Katherine are road tripping. And I specifically love it because, well, I love TV on the radio.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before, like with some other scenes, especially on road trips. Like, is the song diegetic? Like, they're actually hearing it in the episode. And I'm pretty sure it is. Like, I actually think Damon is playing it because in a later scene with a different song, Damon turns off the car and the music stops.
Yeah. It's definitely supposed to be like from the car radio.
Yes. And I'm like, Damon has elite taste.
He does. And I like it too because they play TV on the radio a lot when Damon is going like rogue.
Yeah,
and so it makes sense within the scene.
Works.
And then this is also the scene where Katherine and Damon are like making out, which is also
it's
funny.
also just funny.
But yeah, I really like the song, and I thought this one was memorable too. So
yeah,
winner will do TV on the radio. We'll be adding that to our playlist with all of the winners of best song from season 1, season 2, and now how far we are into season 3. Mm-hmm. We also have a playlist specifically with all of the honorable mentions and winners for season 3. You can find both of those playlists linked in our various bios and descriptions. You'll also find there our TikTok, our Instagram. We're always posting polls, clips, random edits, all sorts of fun things you can get involved, and we'll remind you to leave voicemails. So follow us there.
So join us July 11th for season 3, episode 6.
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, high school.
First day of senior year.
Yeah,
love.
Excited. So thanks for watching and or listening to this one. We'll see you next week.
Bye.